Today, we are talking about something that I know can feel incredibly frustrating when you hear it on this journey, and that is surrender. Because at some point, you have probably been told to just let go or to stop trying or surrender and it will happen. And instead of that feeling comforting, it can feel really triggering, confusing, dismissive, and honestly, how does that even work? Because how are you supposed to surrender something that you want so deeply? How are you meant to let go of becoming a mother? So if you ever felt like you are failing at surrender or like it's something that you should be able to do, but you just can't, I want you to know this. You are not doing it wrong. And today we are going to completely reframe what surrender actually means on your fertility journey, why it can feel so impossible, and the truth that no one really talks about, which is that you are not struggling to surrender. You are struggling to feel safe. And when you understand that, everything starts to shift.
Welcome to your journey to fertility. This is the podcast that blends science with spirit to give you all the tools you need as you navigate your fertility journey. I'm your host, Jennifer Edmonds, and for the last 15 years, I've been helping women on their journeys to motherhood and beyond. I believe that combining the latest scientific research along with the best energetic and mindset practices will help you to avoid putting your life on hold and bring you closer to your baby. Each week, you'll learn ways to support your fertility and trust your body so that you can stop stressing that you'll never have your baby and finally walk your path to motherhood. This is the Your Journey to Fertility podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the podcast. I love this topic now, these days, but when I was going through my own trying to conceive journey, it drove me crazy. And there are so many manifestation experts in the world. And, I used to listen to Gabby Bernstein's podcast and she'd be like, surrender and then surrender again and then more. And I was just, I can't surrender anymore now. I cannot let go. And it doesn't make sense on the fertility journey how you can let go of the thing that you want more than anything. You hear about being able to surrender as this magical solution to getting what you want. But how exactly are you supposed to do that, to let go of the one thing that has been taking over every thought for the last how many weeks, months, years of your life? The one thing that you focus on from the moment you wake up in the morning until you finally fall asleep at night, and it completely consumes your entire life. Well, the answer to that is you don't. You don't let it go, and you don't forget about it, and you don't stop wanting it. And this is why I think this episode is important, because surrender is about something else entirely. And today I want to walk you through exactly what that is and how you get there. But before we get into it, a reminder that we have 1 week to go. Oh my gosh, 7 days from the time this goes live until we start Embrace the Journey. This is my biggest live event of the year. We have thousands of women registered. I'm blown away by how many people have signed up this year. It is 3 days. It is immersive. It is the ultimate mind-body fertility training program. And it is completely free. We have 3 days together where I get to take you through so many of the practices that I talk about on this podcast. We go through fertility yoga and how that works. We add in the mindset piece. I give you guided meditations. I show you breathwork techniques that you can use in moments of calm, in moments of overwhelm. And it is everything that I wish I had had when I was struggling to conceive. And the best part about it, whenever I get a group of women together who are on the same page on this journey, it's like you're able to exhale. No one's going to say something stupid. No one's going to trigger you. No one's going to say the wrong thing. You just get to sit in this energy of women who understand. And there is something incredibly powerful about that. So if you haven't signed up already, please do so. You can go to elementpilatesyoga.com/waitlist and get your free ticket. The link is also in the show notes. And just for signing up, I will give you 2 free gifts, which will arrive into your inbox that you can start using in the lead up to the event. So cannot wait to see you here next week. But we're going to jump into this episode now straight away. And I think that this topic flows really beautifully from last week's episode about manifestation. You don't have to listen to that first, but if you didn't already, go back and add it to your playlist if you didn't, because I find manifestation and surrender really are just different parts of the exact same topic. I felt like when I was struggling to conceive, I had every spiritual expert, every yoga teacher, everyone who was already on the other side of their TTC journey telling me, just surrender, just let go and it will happen, or you're wanting it too much, or it'll just happen when you stop thinking about it. God, if I had $1. This feels triggering, dismissive, impossible, and so loaded with pressure. It just becomes another thing that you're doing wrong or they haven't done properly or you can't get it right. And I want to really normalize that when people say things like that to you, it is so triggering and that creates immediate resistance in your body because of course you can't just switch it off. You're not going to be happy as Larry that, your pregnancy test is negative at the end of this month. No, it is not something that just goes away because you tell your brain that's you're no longer going to be thinking about it. You no longer want it anymore. Surrender is not something that you force. Surrender feels so hard because it isn't just a desire. It's not about I want this fancy car or I want the next job. It is about your identity. It's about your future. It's about your whole life. The stakes are incredibly high. And as I have said before, manifesting a pregnancy, it is not like manifesting the house or the job or whatever. It is about working with your baby's soul path too. And this is something that we so often forget. We want to be able to control everything. There is so much safety when our brains and our nervous systems can go, well, this is predictable. I do this and I know what the outcome will be. But we know that isn't how it works when we're struggling through fertility. The planning, the researching, the tracking, all of this control that we try to bring into this journey, it is just our nervous system's way of trying to protect us. Fertility amplifies uncertainty, and that creates the grouping, the reaching, the more controlling behaviors and the doing more things perfectly and doing them more often and trying to dictate the outcome. So when things don't go our way, this creates frustration, anger, and so much shame. The shame part, I think, is the hardest part. You are not bad at surrendering. Your body is trying to protect you by sending you into this spiral of control. And when things don't work, you think, well, I have to try something else. I have to go back. I have to do it again. I have to do it better. This is just your body trying to protect you. When I was trying to conceive for the second time, if you know my journey, you'll know I struggled to have both of my children. And I was so mad because I had surrendered so many damn times. Like I had done the inner child work. I'd gone out into the desert and done the screaming and the shamanic healing and the full moon and all the things, right? I was so frustrated because on my first journey of trying to conceive, I wasn't in a great place when I fell pregnant. I had been through a round of IVF. We ended up with one embryo. I ended up having to have eye surgery in the 2-week wait, like just ridiculous, these ridiculous things. I was an anxious mess. I was in my room crying every day. I didn't want to get out of bed. And I couldn't understand how that version of me in that place managed to get pregnant. And yet 3 years later, after so much healing work, and I had done so much healing work and so much surrendering, I still couldn't get there. But that is the thing about surrender that is the hardest to hear. It doesn't care about your timeline. And I'm sorry, but that is a hard thing to hear. It doesn't care that you're ready. What surrender is asking you to do is to trust. And that is the hardest place to be in. It is not something that you get to either. It's not going to be like, okay, well, I'm here. I'm at the place of trust. That isn't how it works either. It is a moment by moment choice. You are going to be asked to surrender over and over again. But don't worry, this episode is going to help you get there. What I think is the biggest lie about surrender is like this idea of you just need to let go for it to happen. And like I mentioned, there is so much blame in this message. It creates self-doubt, like the pressure to feel a certain way. I need to let go of wanting my baby. Like, don't be ridiculous, as if we're going to let go of that deep primal need that we have when we want to be a parent. Surrender becomes when you are in this place of blame, it just becomes this additional thing that we have to get right, like the diet, like the supplements, right? Surrender is not a requirement for pregnancy, but being able to surrender It is here to support you, to make this journey feel easier, more manageable, and in a way that makes you realize, I can do this. And if it's going to take another 3 months, 6 months, whatever, I've got this in the meantime. So surrender is not giving up. It's not caring. It's not walking away from what you want. But if it isn't any of these things, then what is it? And I think when we are, like I talked about in the episode last week, when we were talking about manifestation, manifesting a baby is different. When we are talking about surrender on this particular journey, this is what we want to lean into. Releasing control, but not the desire. Obviously not. It's about softening the grip. No more white knuckling your way through this. Like, how can I possibly make this more controlled? How can I possibly control this more and better and do things more perfectly? It is about staying open without forcing and just being open to letting things happen in a way that maybe you didn't plan, and maybe the outcome could be better than what you did have planned. Just maybe. You can want this deeply, and you cannot let it consume you. And I think that is the balance that we need to find. You don't ever stop wanting your baby, but you can get to a place where you stop needing it to happen in a certain way by a certain time. And that is the difference. But how do you actually do this? And that is where we are going next. And honestly, like I say so often, the real key here is safety in the body. And if you've ever dove into the neuroscience of manifestation, you will know that the fact that you can even want something, that you can even picture that it is a possibility in your life, means that it is possible for you. So I want you to know you are not struggling to surrender. You are needing to feel safe. You're trying to control everything, your nervous system doing all the things, pushing, grasping, gripping. It is your brain's way of trying to protect you. When your body feels unsafe, under pressure, hypervigilant, it holds tighter. It grips on. And that is what we want to let go of. Not the baby, not that desire to be a parent. Most people, I find, and this was 1,000% me, they will say, I'll be happy when. I'll believe this stuff works when this shows up, or I'll move on when I see this happens in my life. But here is where we need to reframe it. I want you to ask yourself, what if you decided that the life you want, the baby that you want, is already yours? It is already on its way. What if you could decide to be happy with the life that you have now? Because you wouldn't be grasping for something that you already had. If it's already yours, if you already know it's coming, you don't need to be grasping and reaching for that. What I want is for you to show up as the person who knows her baby is coming. So here's what we do instead. I love a list. I always love breaking things down. I find that's helpful for my very type A brain, so I hope it helps you as well. Here is your 5-step daily checklist for coming into surrender. And really these kind of flow one to the next. And like I said, it is not something that we sit down to do and then it's done. It is going to be this choice by each moment when you notice that you are gripping, when you're holding on, when you're getting dysregulated. It is what you keep coming back to. Now, number 1, this is my favorite. I want you to say to yourself, whenever you notice you're going down that spiral, you're going into lack, I want you to say to yourself, it's already taken care of. It's already handled. Whatever resonates with you, it's handled. It's done. It's taken care of. Say it and say it again until your nervous system relaxes. And get rid of blame when these feelings come up. As soon as you notice yourself thinking, it's never going to happen, this is going to be negative, take away the blame, okay? These feelings are normal. You are human. This journey is not your fault. You haven't done anything to cause this. And the fact that your baby isn't here yet is not because you're not letting go enough. Take away any ounce of blame that you might have lingering at the back of your mind here and hand it over to the universe. Say, it's already taken care of. Just remind yourself in those moments. That is the very first step. The second step, okay, now you have that fresh slate, you've broken that thought pattern. I want you to focus on fun. We spoke about this a little bit last week as well. And can we please just bring a little bit more fun back into your life right now? Because I know how miserable this journey can feel. It is awful. Now, you do not, please hear me, need to be positive all of the time or any of that nonsense. This is not toxic positivity here. But where can you have a little bit more fun in your life? Where can you do something nice for yourself? Buy a treat with your coffee, buy yourself flowers, whatever makes you happy, whatever lights you up. It is from this state that your nervous system can relax more easily. And then all of this work that I talk about, all of the little things that you can bring into your life, these small moments that you do often really have an impact. Slow breathing, ground yourself, stillness, quiet, consistency over intensity. The more fun, the more moments of joy that we bring into our life, the more opportunity your nervous system has to regulate. Because when you're having fun, your brain knows that you're not under threat. It knows it doesn't have to protect you and go into survival mode. And that's it. And it's from that place that we start to really make things shift. And it's consistency, remember, over intensity. Don't worry if you don't feel good all day long. Like I said, it doesn't matter. But I want you to invite little moments, fun, joy, whenever you can. And if you are not sure what this looks like, or you don't even know where to start, come and join me next week during Embrace the Journey. I'm going to literally give you a whole toolkit of practices that are going to be fun, that are going to make you feel joyful, and you can use them every single day to start making this happen. Number 3 is I want you, this is hard, to notice where you're gripping and stop checking for the 3D proof that things are working. And this takes a lot of awareness. And again, it's about breaking that pattern that we keep coming back to. The thoughts, the routines, the timelines, the ruminating, the replaying conversations, wishing you'd done things differently. You are always going to make the very best decisions for yourself with all of the information that you had at the time. And maybe today, tomorrow, you'll learn something new and then you would make a different decision next time. Gently soften into where you are right now. Give yourself some grace. And when you notice that you're relying on this 3D evidence that everything is going your way, you get the blood results back and they're not where you wanted them to be, and you get to the end of the month and you get the negative test again. These things do not mean that it will never happen, because every woman that struggled on this journey had those moments. She had those moments of thinking it's never going to happen until it did. So I want you to take away all of the evidence that is telling you it's never going to happen, because there's plenty of that. That's fine. Come back to the present. Feel your feet on the ground. Place a hand on your heart. And go back to step 1. Remind yourself it's already handled and it is already on its way. Number 4 is to celebrate where you are now. And at the same time, you've got to let that duality exist of, I can want this deeply, but I'm also really grateful for what I have already. Like I said, we don't have to be positive all the time for any of this to work, because both can coexist. We can deeply desire the thing that we don't have, but we can also look at our life, our partner, our job, our friends, our bodies, and how amazing they are, and know that we have so much already. And I know this is hard. Gratitude is one of those, gratitude again. I know, I get it. When you're struggling with fertility, it's one of those things that comes up a lot, and it can feel like it gets a bit shoved down your throat. But it is powerful. And I want you to just go gently with it and remind yourself that it is a gateway into that path of regulation as well. All right, the last step, and the thing that I want to help you with the most, is to let your body lead and to rebuild that trust. Ask yourself, what would feel supportive right now? What does my body need? What does it need today? When I get up in the morning, what do I need? What am I craving? Your body doesn't want you to scroll on your phone for half an hour before you go to bed. It wants you to feel regulated. And what feels good doesn't necessarily have to be what is going to make you get pregnant this month. I want you to get out of this mindset of, I can only do things that are going to help my fertility, because there's just so much pressure. If you can start to get into that mindset of, I'm going to do this today because it just makes me feel great, That is a much better place to come from. That is where your body can drop into that state of surrender more easily. So be selfish. Go and eat the hot chips. That's what we call fries, just in case you are American. Surrender is not about being perfect every day. It is about being totally okay with that and trust in divine timing. Will it matter that your baby shows up in 3 months, 6 months instead of tomorrow? I promise you in 10 years' time will not occur to you. Trust that one day the timing of your journey will not matter even for a moment. So as we start to get towards the end of this episode, I know that this could be triggering, speaking about surrender and gratitude and allowing. I totally get that. So I want to just leave you with some closing thoughts that I felt were really reassuring for me. You are not failing at surrender, and your body is never working against you. There is nothing wrong with how much you care about this and how much you want it, because surrender is never about letting go of your dream. It is about no longer abandoning yourself in the process. Surrender is not about giving up. You don't have to want it less. You are not blocked. You are protecting yourself. Safety will create that softness, and the softness will then create surrender. And like I said, this isn't something that you do once. It is something you'll do over and over again, and it never has to be perfect. So please keep reminding yourself of that. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening today. This stuff is really hard, and I want to acknowledge that. But if you found it helpful, let me know that as well. I would love it if you could share this with someone, leave a review. Your words mean the world to me. And remember, come and join me next week at Embrace the Journey. Honestly, like I said, I am such an extrovert. I get my energy from others. I love being around new people, hearing about your journeys, hearing your stories, and getting to show you that there is a different way to get you through this whole journey. Honestly, it might just open up your world and change your whole trajectory from here. And this Friday, we have a bonus episode dropping where you get to hear from one of my students who honestly went through it all. I meet so many women in this line of work. I hear so many journeys, but this story, this one that Jess went through it's almost impossible to understand that one person could endure so much, honestly. She went through it all. The years of trying to conceive, she got the unexplained infertility diagnosis. She had multiple losses, IVF cycles that didn't work, as well as a stillbirth in her second trimester. Now, this is a story that shows you that nothing is impossible. And spoiler alert, after all that, I promise you it has a good ending. I will protect your heart, promise. So I can't wait for her to tell you how she did this. So tune in to that episode at the end of this week. But until then, I am sending you all of my wishes as you continue your own journey to fertility.
I went through years of struggling through infertility, multiple diagnoses, IVF cycles, and pregnancy loss. And against all the odds, I managed to bring home 2 beautiful babies. So much of this defied logic. And that is what happens when you are able to shift your mindset, regain trust in your body, and find a new way of approaching your fertility journey. This is exactly what we're going to explore together inside Embrace the Journey. In this brand new live virtual experience at the end of this month, I will guide you through a powerful process that takes a deep dive look into how you can sync with your cycle, regulate your nervous system, and overcome all those limiting subconscious beliefs. All of this is with one goal in mind: to bring you closer to your baby. This is a 3-day event that shows you how to use the incredible practices of fertility yoga, meditation, and breathwork to see what is possible. Over the last few years, thousands of women from all over the world have taken this training with so many incredible results. So join the list now over at elementpilatesyoga.com/waitlist or follow the link in the show notes. I cannot wait to see you there.